Hello and welcome my fab fans to Glam's new video. The most amazing thing happened. I was commissioned for an art piece of jewelry. I love it when I get asked for like commissions and stuff and like special requests. I might have made a lot of jewelry, and I don't mind when people buy from things that I've already made. But when they ask for custom pieces is when I get really excited. Because it's special to them. I get so excited every time. I usually don't charge very much for my art, and it's because I want it to be affordable, especially since I try to buy the materials as like cheaply as possible so that I can keep my prices down so that when people do inevitably buy jewelry from me, the only thing you're really paying for is mostly my skill level rather than the cost of premium materials. Don't get me wrong, I still make sure they're quality materials. I just try to get them as cheaply as possible, whether it be with coupons or with budgeting or buying in a big enough bulk to where it is a reduced price or at a discount. And also from factory sites. I try to buy directly from factories that make the charms and or pieces that I use, as that also helps me be able to bring down the price of what I'm doing. I'm just a small creator, which means I can only make things so cheaply before it is too expensive for me to charge a cheaper price. Because I do genuinely have to battle with people who use Shein and other sites. As creative as I can be, and as skilled as I can be, and make things that are new and exciting and very specialized to each and every person, I still have to worry about making sure it's affordable. Because I also care about people and their ability to afford things. Oh my god, my computer's gonna die. Where did I leave my charger? The speed at which I can find my charger is the funniest thing to me. Because I really can find this thing so fast. Shove, shove, shove. Shove, shove, shove. But another one of my favorite things about people buying jewelry or art from me is just the fact that they get to enjoy it. It brings me so much joy knowing a person gets to enjoy something that I've spent time creating for them. That brings me joy too. They'll get to wear it, they'll get to show it to people, being like, look, they got something custom for me. I love it. I get so much joy at making things for people. I genuinely have always loved making things for people. Because I've never hated people. I can fear people, yes. Don't get me wrong. I do have people I do fear in my life. But I've always been a giver, which is why it's really hard to handle when I'm around people who don't see value in my hard work, which is my family, unfortunately. When strangers are nicer to you and more supportive to you than your own family is a little unfortunate. But I'm still gonna create. And I know my uploads have not been as much the past 2 days. I've been in a therapy group, and I recently got prescribed antidepressants. Apparently, they're really good ones, because I have really bad anxiety issues. But I also know that I've suffered from, like, psychotic thoughts before. Like, life would be so much easier if they just did not exist outwardly. But I'm afraid of hurting others. And I've been called, like, a psycho so many times in school, and people were afraid of me hurting them, even though I never wanted to physically hurt them. My intrusive thoughts did imagine it quite a bit, but I just shut them down as, those are bad thoughts. But like, why would I do that? And I can rationalize my bad thoughts. Usually when I'm alone. Because I can shut them down personally. As I know when something is bad versus good because of my moral compass that I spent years building on my own and through my mother. I know I'm also have been a very trusting person for a very long time, and a very giving person, and I have had a lot of people take advantage of that in my life. But I can't change who I am fundamentally. I can't change the fact that I suffer from intrusive thoughts. I can't change the fact that I'm autistic. I also recently got a professional diagnosis from an actual therapist because of the therapy group I've been put in, because of my intrusive thoughts having an outward party trying to endorse them. Unfortunately. There should be a darker green one of these. There's 2 pastel green ones. I found both the pastel ones. I need, like, this green. Haha, I found it. Take my glasses off. I don't need them to see near me. I don't need them to see directly in front of me. Do I get closer to my instructions? Sometimes, but not. But it's mainly me just counting. And I try not to do that very often because I don't want to get in front of the camera. Because I want you to see what I'm doing. Like with my grandmother, the only reason I don't really want her to be here anymore, like alive, is because of how much pain and suffering she's in. I don't want her to be in pain anymore. And well, the only way for her to not be in pain anymore is to not be here anymore, unfortunately. her body's too old to be able to heal the injuries she has. So every time she sustains a new injury, um, usually self-caused because she refuses to ask for help. Um, I know a lot of people usually don't really go out of their way to help her though. But she's burnt a lot of bridges in her life. So I kind of think it's her fault that that happens. Unfortunately to say. Don't burn bridges with people you care about, or treat them like shit and expect them to stick around for longer. Actually, remember I had a diary when I was younger. And it was read on me, which was a really bad invasion of privacy. But that is actually why I started burning my diaries and my journals. I like to journal. It is a great way to relax for me. I also like writing stories. I once wrote a story about a serial killer. And not because I wanted to be one, but because I was fascinated why people could think it's okay to hurt someone, like outwardly attack someone. I'm so morally headstrong in the way of I don't want to attack other people, but I've thought about it. But like I don't act on it because I think it's wrong, extremely wrong, to hurt other people. But one thing you don't really think about is when you finally have freedom from someone who used to be so oppressive to you, and you finally get to start growing your life and being yourself without any outward judgment, and then get stuck back in an area where they can judge you again, but they have no one else to focus on, kinda sucks. Luckily, I know I can tell my parents things because for the first time in a while, I actually felt like I was listened to. I feel like I made a mistake somewhere. Why is it at this angle? Hmm. That looks more like the right angle. I was trying to see where everything goes, but it's so hard to see when everything got like moved to the side. I ate really fast at work today, but I'm so glad I have such great coworkers because when I had like a migraine today going into work, um, because I'm not gonna lie, I definitely did not eat enough sandwiches to sustain myself, not get a headache. But I was also in a house that apparently was 80 degrees for hours because a basement neighbor decided they wanted to leave their heat on and not shut it off. So it was and also with her doors and windows open, it was still like 75 degrees in that apartment. That is ridiculous. Also, I'm talking about Fahrenheit before any of y'all Celsius people get freaked out. And no, I'm not going to do the conversion rate for you. Unfortunately, that takes me to use my phone, and that's too much work. And it's only because I'm on camera. In person, gladly, but on camera, absolutely not. My friend actually chose this particular Lego set for me to make. Um, I know I usually let you guys, like my fans, do that for me. But I get more excited when I get to make something and then give it away immediately to someone who will display it in their house and enjoy it. So if I ask my friend which one she wants me to make for her, I will. I would rather do that than ask you guys what I would like to make. Because it means it's immediately going to someone. And that brings me more joy. And that's what I really need right now as I go through this mental health journey to heal from feeling terrified to even be in my house. Oh, and I also get to not work mornings anymore, um, unless it's the weekend. And I did apologize for like the no, not like the lack of warning, but like it's not just I don't want to work that day. It's I physically don't think I can handle it if I do. Like I want the therapy. I want to go to like the chat rooms and I want to go through with all of the support systems because it's genuinely helpful to be around people who are also going through hard times. And struggling mentally. It's it's nicer. And yes, it is very much so something you have to like actively show up for and have time for, especially since it's a morning thing. But I wouldn't recommend it to someone if I didn't actively believe it's necessary to have support in the first place. I have always had a belief that it is good to have a support system. It is healthy to have people around that you can talk to, people who are like you, who struggle just all the same, who've gone through it just as much. I'm not going to talk about anything that we have discussed in the group because privacy, but it is something I would recommend for anyone struggling. Is there are people out there who are also struggling, and there are groups for us. If it wasn't for the fact that I had freedom to be myself without any disruptions to my scheduling, I probably would be a whole different person, I'm not gonna lie. I'd probably still be stuck not knowing that there was anything wrong going on if I never actively knew that I should look for the differences versus me and others. And I was told that I'm very aware of my issues, and I think I've always been quite aware of when there's something wrong or different. Because it's not necessarily bad to be different, it's just harder to be different. It's harder to not fit in like the glove of society wants you to. Getting professionally diagnosed with autism is actually something that will help me in the long run, and I know it will, because it means people won't just say I'm lying about being different or having struggles or not understanding things or wording things weirdly or differently. When I say I'm a good actor, it means whenever I am in cosplay, I am pretending to be that character as a whole. When I am me, I am me. And I love pretending to be a character, and I love being me, but for different reasons. And some people might be like, it's ridiculous to show when you're struggling online. And I'm just like, if you don't show the struggle, how will people know if they're struggling too? How will people know if they need to look for help? If they've never had a person tell them that just because there's a difference doesn't mean anything. Because I've had people tell me that they've been called worthless for thinking they were different. I've had people be bullied by their own families, by friends, by coworkers. I've met people of all kinds struggle because people did not believe that they were struggling because of a mental illness. It's not your fault if you have one. You don't get to choose that. It just happens. You don't get to choose to be different. You don't get to choose who you are. You just get to be yourself and find a way to exist amongst others, which is difficult because nobody wants to be the odd one out, but it kind of just happens like that sometimes. I know in school I found it very difficult to make friends and maintain friendships because I never understood how to have conversation properly, and I wasn't very good at being socialized. But I loved talking to people about interests, and I loved learning people's interests and sharing my own. But I also had people judge me for some of my interests, look at me differently, or treat me differently. Um, Especially when I like the same things as others, which is a weird vibe because I might not be as good at being first in things. Because I love Steven Universe, but I also know that I make mistakes when I talk about it. Uh-oh, I forgot something, or I mixed up things. My brain is not always just in a straight line of thought. Usually I'm more of in the moment type of thought. And it just flows as time goes. More leads. Like when talking and getting asked questions, I don't always know what to say. And or how I have felt in another day, because I'm not living that moment at that exact time. And I usually put myself in a state of calm before I start any form of meeting or talking or needing to be around others. I try to be in a place where I know that I'm safe or comfortable. I eat a bunch of snacks. I make myself happy in any way I can because I want to be comfortable around people. One thing they did mention was a dietitian, and I'm like, I don't think I'll need that because I genuinely did put steps and support groups in place in my personal life to help me with remembering to eat because I can't feel as much as other people. I am a lot more numb to senses than others. And maybe the antidepressants will fix that. Maybe it was just depression the whole time. On top of the autism. Honestly, I kind of hope so, because if it fixes two problems by starting a medication, you know what? Goals. Vibes. Goals. We love that. These are actually really sturdy Legos. I'm kind of glad they are. They're really nice. And I'm not, like, afraid of this falling apart. Some of the other sets that I've gotten on Temu and stuff have not stayed together as well. This was a bundle pack. So I was not expecting it to stay together at all, but it does. So it's a win for me. I'm gonna stick this plastic pieces in here. Is that one just, like, chunky or something? Or is it genuinely just a difficult task? Though I don't mind giving up my Tuesdays. Because honestly, out of all of the days of the week, that's the one day a week that I tend to get the sick. I get sick more often on Tuesday. I don't know why. Honestly, I can't rationalize that. I do genuinely just get vomiting and sick on Tuesdays. Though the only symptom that actually worries me out of all of the ones that can potentially happen, it's not the drowsiness. I don't mind being drowsy. I have ways to just handle that mentally. It's the nauseous symptom. You can potentially feel nauseous. And I heard that and I was immediately like, well, I hope I don't get that. That was literally the only one that actually worried me because I'm just like, no, thank you. So I hope I don't get that symptom out of all of them. All of the other symptoms that it could potentially give me, that's the only one that I'm just like, I hope the fuck not. Because, like, if I get nauseous, I don't eat at all. Though I do try to drink a lot of water if I'm nauseous, because, like, specifically vitamin water. Because I still want calories in my body, even if I'm not feeling that great. Because I like being healthy, which is, like, a big thing for me. I've always been kind of a health nut, even when I was younger. I actually helped one of my friends, like, on a diet before. She was basically just eating how I eat, which was based off of, does this make both my brain and body feel happy? And honestly, I think the only change that really was big for her was the fact that she was drinking more water. I'm not gonna lie, I think that was just the biggest change she did with her diet, was she was just genuinely drinking more water. Because other than that, I don't think there was much of a change, because she was still eating sweets. But I also think she was binging less at night because she was eating something sweet during the day, and she was feeling fed throughout the day. Because her parents used to not feed her lunch. I have some wild stories. Huh. Sometimes you just really don't think about all the things you've been through until you have to think about it. I know, wild, right? Wild concept. You don't think about things until you have to think about it. That's the dumbest way I could have put that. I mean, it's true, but it's still like, the phrasing of it is so stupid. I think I'm genuinely glad that I decided though to join and like look for help. I will always advocate for that. It's actually one of my main reasons I want to be a therapist is because I know people struggle asking for help. That's usually like the first and biggest and most important step is knowing you need help and asking for it. For the longest point in time, I did not know that there was anything wrong with my family because it was so normalized to me. I mean, especially when you struggle to make friends in the first place. But I also grew up very spoiled, and a lot of people were like, if you get whatever you want when you ask for it, why do you not ask for more? And it's because it actually makes me feel guilty if I ask people for things. Even when I was younger, I never really liked asking for a lot of things. Um, but I've also had things stolen from me when I was younger. Many times. Because I just happened to be lucky enough to be given things. So I stopped asking for things because I was like, what's the point of having nice things if people are just gonna steal from me? And or complain about it. Or tell me you're not you're not gonna take advantage of it. I was like, no, because I see how hard my dad works. I'd rather my dad be home more often and hang out with me and actually want to talk about my interests with me than be at work. And I get it. Work enough to like afford like bills and like basics. But other than that, I don't really care too much about material items. Don't get me wrong. I am thankful when people give me things. I am thankful for any form of help that I receive. But I prefer people just actually being there. Which is why when I was told I couldn't hang out with my friend, despite we were going to be on camera the whole time. it didn't make sense to me because I was gonna be on camera the whole time anyway. I was like, if you're gonna say anything or talk any shit, it's gonna be all on camera. So you might as well just let me have my friend over anyway. Because it's public knowledge to begin with. My whole life is basically public knowledge. Because I want people to know what it's like to be different and or have struggles. But I also want people to know that they can look for help, they can ask for it, and that there are people willing to help. Even if it's hard to find. Something I've always known is like, if your parents look for a therapist for you, they're gonna look for someone that fits their values, not fits yours. And I thought about that. Which is like, kind of why you kind of need to look for the therapist on your own time, if you're gonna have a therapist in the first place. You need someone that fits your values, not fits your parents. Because I bet you and your parent don't have the same values. I'm not gonna lie. I doubt that. For many of reasons. I mean, I'm an omniist, my mom's a pagan, my grandmother's a witness, my dad's an atheist. We all have different levels of beliefs. Also, the funniest thing is the only reason my dad says he's an atheist and doesn't want to believe in a god is because he doesn't want to believe in an afterlife, because he thinks he's sinned way too much to deserve a place in heaven. And I'm like, just because you drink alcohol or smoke weed doesn't mean you're a bad person. It just means you're going through shit. And that you struggle with it. And that's okay. I personally don't want to drink or smoke or do any of those things, but like, that's a personal choice. We're all completely different. And we all handle things at different tempos and with different methods. I can handle a lot of my own energy, but it's when someone adds their energy on top of mine when it really makes me spiral. Which is why when I was bombarded, it really just hurt. And it was mainly because I was so embarrassed to even be related to a person who feels they're better than everyone, even though their life is falling apart around them. It's embarrassing. And I know people who go through addiction also find it embarrassing. Because it kind of is. And some people surround themselves with people, the wrong crowd. And that also happens. we usually try to surround ourselves with people with similar ideals, which is why I think it's important to surround yourself with people you want to be like. Like, if you like beat how another person is, sure, stick to your like basic fundamentals. God, camera just fell. But like, be a person you like. I find it so important to like yourself. I try to be a person I like, which is why I film YouTube. It's why I talk about my struggles. It's because I find it important to share them so that people can realize that they have struggles too. If you go through something and you don't know that you're struggling, is so much worse. I have never understood if I was struggling with something until after a person noticed for me. Like today, my coworker noticed I was really struggling to focus and I was in a lot of pain. Mentally. I had a migraine and it made it so it was hard to keep my eyes open. The way I feel pain is a lot different than how a lot of others feel pain. Some people describe it as stabbing. I describe it as tightness. And that everything becomes so much more bright that it makes me want to close my eyes. And or hide in a hole of darkness. When it comes down to like back pain, it's less of a physical thing. It's more of, I feel like there's a pinch and a twist. And it shouldn't feel like that. And my brain can rationalize it and understand that there's something wrong. But I didn't always know that. There was one time where I accidentally cut one of my nails off. Like, almost lost the tip of my finger. It was an accident, and I wasn't trying to. Sometimes you miss with the knife, okay? Mistakes happen. Though I also played Five Finger Fillet once. Which is very stupid. Don't do it. I have moments where I'm stupid, okay? There's a really fun song about it, okay? Don't do it, but it was a fun song, okay? Yeah, no. That's when impulses are bad. It's actually one of the reasons why I'm like, I mean, I don't really think internet access should be allowed to be unrestricted to children. So It's also why I'm just like, please don't flirt with me if you are a child. That is weird. Though during cons, I will like take photos with children because they want me to be in the photo because it's cosplay. They can take photos with me. I'm an adult. I can consent to that. Um, do I have access to the photos that have been taken of me? Yeah. Will I ever show those on the internet? Um, I'm pretty sure I did post them, and I kind of want to take them down and blur the faces. But like, honestly, yeah. No, I'm probably gonna do that later. Because sometimes I don't think about things that I'm doing, which is why I like it when people tell me things. Because as you grow and mature and understand the world better, because it takes me so much fucking longer than everyone else to understand things, so does my posts. Like, I deleted all of the posts that I had that I took as a kid and that um and or that involved me with the kids that I babysat, despite having permission from the parents to post those videos in cosplay. My morals changed from back then. Before I was more of like, oh, they accepted it, and I was just like, and so did their parents, and they agreed to it, and I'm just like, I'd just rather now not be on the internet at all. As you grow and mature, so do your morals and understandings of the world. It's okay to have change. It's okay to have your perspective change as you grow and mature. Because my brain is not fully developed yet. That doesn't really finish until you are 25. I'm only 22. I'm not fully mature. But I'll get there. But the older I get, the more I am restricting things that I post and change past decisions that I have made. Because we grow as people and we learn from our past mistakes. Which is why I don't think we should judge people for a decision they made in the past. Because not everyone knows better. And I've never believed in, oh, because they did that once, they will think that forever. As we grow as people and learn and all that stuff that is beautiful and wonderful, our morals and our ideals change because we hope for the best in people. And that's not always true. Anywho, I finished. It's actually very sturdy. Peace, love. Have a good day, my fab fams. I'll see you in the next video. Bye!